I'm here with artist Ardith Goodwin, and actually, Ardith, you're taking inspiration from one of my favorite artists, from Kandinsky.
Yes, I am.
So tell us a little bit about what inspires you about his work.
He is, the color of his work was something that I was absolutely drawn to because I'm a colorist at heart. He uses a lot of geometry, but his earliest work had a black ground to it almost, and it was extremely colorful, blended, impressionistic. It wasn't realistic. So I just wanted to emulate his work in a way that wasn't literal.
And I see with the rocks, you have done that. And you even told me that these were inspired by one specific painting.
Yes, he did a color study in watercolor, which was squares with concentric circles. So I thought, what a great way to take rock painting and tie it to Kandinsky.
Cool, so how do we get started?
Okay, so here's what we do. First, you gotta choose your rocks. You can choose rocks from the garden. I happen to love the black ground of rocks. And
just like Kandinsky.
Right, and you can get these rocks from your local craft store. You wanna look for roundish rocks because in that painting, although they were in squares, it was very circular. And the flatter, the easier to work with.
Now you have some gray rocks here too. Mm-hmm.
These are just natural stones that you could find. You can paint on these if you can't get the black ones. I just happen to prefer the black just because, and you could paint these black first, let that dry, and continue. That
seems like a lot of extra work.
A lot of extra work when you can get black rocks.
There you go. So what's next?
Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is, once you choose your rocks, you want a base coat because black is a very dark base. So if you put transparent colors on it, it's not going to be very vibrant.
I was going to say, it's going to make them very dull.
Yes, you want to use opaque, or you want to have a white base coat like these right here.
Cool. So does it matter if it's gesso, or can it just be regular acrylic paint?
I used regular acrylic paint. It would not matter if it was gesso.
Okay. What's next?
Second step would be you go ahead and start adding your colors. And in his study, he was actually pushing his understanding of color blends. So I like to choose colors that might be unexpected or might be in color families with a twist.
What a fun way to study color. So what do we do after that?
Once you get your base coat on, you can let that dry. You can double coat it. And once you double coat it, you will want to put water-soluble varnish if they're going to stay inside. If you don't, the acrylics, because the rock is not porous, the acrylic will chunk off. So you want to make sure that you do coat it. If they're going to be in the garden or if they're a gift, you can use an oil-based varnish.
Well, all this talking has made me want to paint, so let's do it.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Take a paintbrush. I'm going to grab just a rock, and I just need a coat. Now, I can put a circular.
So you're still thinking about squares and circles, like Kandinsky was studying. And if you just stick to those two shapes, right, there are actually, you'll be surprised at how many possibilities there really are.
And concentric circles are circles inside circles inside circles. So I could totally just put one solid circle, or I can put a small version and then ring my circle.
Which is interesting because then the paint is going to get absorbed differently into the areas that are black versus the areas that aren't.
And what's going to happen too is you're going to have that contrast of the black to the color, so it makes for a really unique looking rock.
Now I know that these ones are dry, so I'm going to pass this one to you right here.
All right, once you have this down, you just want to start putting some base coats on.
And now you're saying base coats just because you're not worried about getting everything done the first time.
Right, first layer. And then could come over here and double dip.
And really, you know, you're not cleaning your brush or worrying too much about it. You're just letting the colors blend. And this is, again, very Kandinsky, very about studying colors. How do they blend? What happens?
And two, I might pull an unexpected color just to push the contrast. Even if it goes a little wonky for the way I'm painting these rocks, the wonkier the better. Because I'm not going for perfection at all.
And once it's dry, it might look a little something like that.
Right. And then if I want to put another coat, I do another coat. And then once I get enough of the coats on, I let this process dry, and then I'm ready for varnish.
And I was gonna say, these rocks actually have something secret magical to them, which is this one is stuck on here for a reason.
Right. You can totally put magnets on the back. I know painting rocks are a big thing right now, and you can abandon them and have people find them, but you can also give them as gifts by putting magnets so they can go right on the refrigerator.
I think that's a super fun idea. And you could customize it with text, with pictures, with whatever you wanted. And if we look at some of these beautiful rocks that you brought, my favorites, if I may, are some of the ones where you really are getting that interesting color blend. And you're really playing a lot with not what's expected, but you're exploring. Super fun technique. Thank you, Ardith.
You're welcome.